I am beyond excited. Guess what's happening? I am celebrating my first of a lifetime of anniversaries with my sisters, my friends over at Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Iota Epsilon Omega, Spring 22 line, 35 Divas. Happy anniversary, my sisters. And I'm excited. So that's what's happening in the whole woman world today. It's a pink and green splash of this and a pink and green splash of that. Happy anniversary, my sisters. And in keeping with this, I remember that day. Strike a pose. That's an ivy if you want to see one. My sisters in service, it's a delight. Today we went over to the Dr. Greco Elementary School and did our book drive and a book fair. It was absolutely wonderful. And that's our signature event. We are now making it something that we do annually. So I'm delighted. I'm honored to be an Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated woman. I'm an AKA gal, and I'm excited. Our guest today is, of course, one of my sisters. And I met this wonderful woman at a conference, and I was absolutely taken aback at her dynamism, the power she exuded. She's an award winning global diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging executive. And I love that she's included the term belonging. So we know it's about the people. She's an advisor, an author, international speaker, and ambassador. Without further ado, help me welcome my sorrow, my sister, none other than Kimberly S. Reed.
Hello, Sarah. Hello there. Hello, everyone. And you know what? I've got to give another shout to the Divine 35. Happy anniversary. Listen, I remember that first anniversary, and I haven't been on the vine long either. But I will tell you, I remember that day. I remember that pose. I remember all of the pinkies. I remember the ivy. I remember doing it all. I remember setting it off. I remember setting it off all day. So listen, it is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful being in such an illustrious sisterhood with so incredible, incredible women like you, like the Divine 35. Shout out to the Perfect Storm. I was number 24. My line sisters, we crossed December 22nd, 2019 is when I saw the pink and green light. And shout out to Phi Beta Omega chapter, where our president is Deidre Patterson. So I give you greetings, Soror, Natalie, and thank you so much for having me. I have to say this at the beginning of the show, if you don't mind, because people are going to say, "Oh my goodness, Kim," because they know the backgrounds. Let me tell you, Natalie, people who see me speak, listen, they know the backgrounds. But my dear sister Rochelle Smith turned 60 today, and so I am at her house. It was so much traffic. I was supposed to get back to my house, right, to put on paraphernalia and to talk with you today. But here I am in her basement, and her husband was so nice to let me be in his man cave. So I'm going to have to probably say that a little bit throughout the time we're together, because, you know, when you're dating and single, you know, you just have to make sure everybody knows what's going on.
Kimberly, you are a hoot. Oh my God. Listen, I knew I was going to have a fabulous time. You are a hoot. Well, thank you, and thank you. This is the energy that I experienced when I first met you. And to even get to our first meeting, I want to go back a little more, because the light, the love, the energy, the positivity that you exude, you do it on your Monday morning greetings, and you do it all the time. But tell us a little bit about the young girl that grew up to be my pink and green Sarah.
Well, I will tell you, you know, the younger version of Kim, right? I was Kim first, right? And Kimmy to my beloved mother, who is a member of our sorority, but she is now an Ivy Beyond the Wall. She passed away 10 years ago. She pledged at Bethune-Cookman College, Gamma Tau, in 1965. So she, yes, HBCU graduate, my shiro, my father. Rhyme Reed is my hero. I couldn't go through life without them at all. I don't know where I would be. I am an only child, and yes, I was raised in Boston, Massachusetts, before we moved to Connecticut. So Kim, was this girl that fell in love with her mother when she was about 4 years old. Oh. And I posted the picture during Mother's Day when I fell in love with my mother. I knew I always wanted to wear stilettos. I knew I always wanted to wear pearls and pink and green and do my hand sign. I wanted always to do that. I wanted to teach college like my mother did. I wanted to be an executive, and I wanted to carry a designer briefcase, and I do now, right? A designer briefcase like my mother. And my father, I got his worth ethic, his grit, his strength. I got my father's temper, and as well, because you push that button, Natalie, that's what happens, Sora, that's what happens. Get it. But it's all fair in love and war, right? And so, my dad retired from the Air Force. He fought in Vietnam. He fought for our country, and we're forever indebted into all of the men and women who've done that for us. And so when we moved to Connecticut, I grew up in Connecticut, and that's when I go home to visit my dad, which I will be soon. I sleep in my childhood bedroom. It faces the woods, because see, I don't live near the woods now. I'm in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and I live near restaurants, the Wegmans, right? Easy, right?
Jungle.
Yes. So when I see a deer, a snake, my dad's like, don't worry about it. A bear, my dad's, don't worry about it. No, I'm worried about it, right? So needless to say, the younger girl, going back to your question, it was just a dreamer. And her parents never told her to stop dreaming. And they always believed in her energy. They believed in her personality, her uniqueness. They knew those were my superpowers. That they now that I grew up with, right? And now recognize that they are my superpowers. So I am, I'm super blessed, Natalie, and I'm just so proud of you for uplifting women and for inspiring women, and for having this enterprise of an organization that specializes in the encouragement, uplifting, the education of women. In the communities we serve. It's so extremely important, and I couldn't be more prouder of you. Your husband is my mentor. Yes, and we laugh because he tell you like it is, honey. And so there's a plenty of times I was crying in his office because I was a young girl at a big company, right? Big company, big global financial services firm, and I meet this guy. He's sharp guy, just like you are, Sora, Natalie. And but I didn't know he went to Harvard, but he said he didn't live there. No. So I knew what that meant. So he gave me the tough love, but he also helped shape who I am today as a businesswoman and as an investor. I wouldn't know half of what I know if it wasn't for mentors and sponsors like Obi McKenzie. So I thank the both of you so much.
Thank you for that, Kimberly. You throw me off there because that's a whole other conversation. And when I said your name, when we first met, he stopped in his tracks and looked at me. He said, "You've never met Kimberly?" I said, "No, this was my first time." And he said, "That's one of my babies."
I know. I was like, wait a minute, what happened? But see, when you're in a basement in a man cave, sometimes that could happen. So I apologize. It's technology.
We're live, and that's the joy of it. But Obi thinks the world of you. So tell me a little bit about that uniqueness that you had as a young girl growing up, and that special quality that your family so admired. How was that shaped? And I think Kimberly's frozen, so I'm just going to keep talking. This is the joys of being alive. And, this hasn't happened in a while. And I think this is a wonderful thing. As you can see from Kimberly's exuberant personality, that is her firebrand. She's energetic, she's full of love, and she pours that into people and is able to bridge gaps when she does her work, which specializes in the space of diversity, inclusion, and equality. And let's see if we can get her back. Do we need to pull her back in? Let's see here. Let's see what's going on. Are we still connected? And are we going to need to? Oh, there we are. Okay, so it's Living Life Authentically. I'm Natalie B. McKenzie. It's my anniversary, in case you're wondering what that is. I happen to be an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman, and it's my first anniversary with being with the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and my soror is back. Welcome back.
I told you all have to bear with me. If that happens again, I'll use my hotspot. I am so sorry about that, but when you're downstairs in the basement, that can happen. And my girlfriend just let me know that. So I apologize, everyone.
That's the joy of being live, and that's the beauty of being authentic in our space. Hello, nobody died. We're going to keep moving. We just
Absolutely.
keep it moving. So we were talking about your beautiful energy and your parents recognizing your unique qualities and cultivating and encouraging you to be just who you are. Let's talk about how how did that show up for you as a teenager, and how did that fuel your decisions academically into college and your career choices?
When you have incredible examples in your life, it helps you shape the blueprint. My mother was big on education. Not only was she big on education, but she instilled, I saw so much excellence in her. And remember, Natalie, I wanted to be like her. So I wanted to move like her. I wanted to not only move like her, I wanted to be her. I wanted to be the wife that she was. I wanted to be the incredible mother that she was. I wanted her to be the professional and executive that she was. And not in this order, because the woman of God that she was. She was a Proverbs 31 woman to the T. And I wanted to cook dinner for my husband in my stilettos like my mother did. So I say all of that to say, when you have those types of examples, Natalie, my dad, I never saw my dad stay in the bed when he had to work. And because they're trying to fix it for me, my girlfriend and her husband, they're trying to, so we might get a little jiggle, but we'll fix it.
That's okay. Good.
Yeah. So my mother, so when you see your mother and father,
the example,
ethic, you want to emulate that, because it was healthy relationship and love. My parents were married for over 45 years before my mother passed away.
Oh.
And my dad, I saw that, the partnership. I saw all of these things, Natalie, that I want to be and wanted and want to be. So that's how, so it's really no deep formula for me of success, because I try to surround myself with great people, great spirited people. I saw my parents do so, has me. God has done so much in me. So, material things are wonderful, but it's the character and the honesty
Mm-hmm.
and the integrity that I saw, and what makes me who I want to be and who I am today.
That is absolutely beautiful. It's such a tribute to your mom and your dad and the legacy of their love and relationship. Where did you go off to study, and what did you study? Because how do you prepare to be the expert you are at what you do today? And if you're going to be frozen on live TV, this is the perfect image. That infectious smile of beautiful energy that is Kimberly that is Kimberly S. Reed is captured and encapsulated right in
Yes,
this.
so I better stop laughing. So whenever I laugh, I freeze. Oh my God, Natalie, I owe you another show. I will be back. Okay, trust
That's,
me. If
that,
you'll
but
have
I'm
me, I'll be
telling you,
back. Okay, because whenever I laugh, I freeze. So I need to look mean.
it was the
So I went to
epitome of
college, Natalie.
grace.
Listen, I tell you,
That's
when I went to college at Westchester, undergrad at Westchester University, in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I went to graduate school at Temple University, in the Fox School of Business. And I wanted to be an attorney first. That was my first goal in life. Well, my first goal in life was to be Oprah, because I love this. Right. I was a talker. I always have been in class. I always got sent home with notes about Kim talking too much in class. And my mom and dad had to sign permission slips all the time. I was a talker, talked to everybody. I had a microphone. It was my candlestick that I took from my mom's living room.
I
Right?
love
The candlestick. Because I know that people who are listening want a formula, right? I went to college, and then how do you become successful? And thank you for thinking that I am, and I'm blessed of where I am. But I think that I talked this morning on Monday Motivation.
Mhm.
I talked about three things. And I talked about your ability to there's motivation, right? There's an attitude and there's your ability, and not in that order. Okay. Not in that order at all. And I think that for us, we have to use every experience, Natalie, every experience. We have to use those as lessons.
Mm.
And, I'm not saying anything, super deep. I'm not saying anything super deep at all. But what I am saying to you is that, everything that we deserve and that is meant for us is manifesting. And that's manifesting at a young age for me and to where I am today. I think the keys to keeping what's manifesting in your life
Mhm.
is to being kind, treating people the way they deserve, being loyal. I think that you also, and not in this order, you've got to, whatever your vertical is, for me, it is God. And I try my best. I falter all the time, but I try my best to stay in alignment there. And I think the last thing I will say is this. I think one of the most powerful things you can do is not only be patient with yourself, but it is the decisions that you make and what you choose to believe. I chose to believe that I was going to win when I was diagnosed with cancer, right?
Mm.
I knew God said when he heals me, and I believed him.
Amen.
10 years is 10 years. I had stage 4 cancer, breast cancer. It's 10 years. So
Wow.
right now, so I think the formula is our ability is what we're capable of doing. Our motivation determines what we will do. And our attitude determines how well we'll do it. That's the formula.
Kimberly, what I truly appreciate about this is so often we think if you do this, then that. And we think it's something you go and you write down and you set a 5-year goal, and we have no clue what's going to happen in 5 minutes. And to hear you say it is very basic. You had phenomenal role models. You saw love in action. You're from a godly home. You chose to live a godly lifestyle, and you chose to trust God. And even in the face of a diagnosis of something such as devastating, that could be as devastating as cancer, sounds to me as though you used it as a tool to winning, a tool for winning.
Yes.
Tell me how you have engaged with those who provide care or with the Cancer Society, how you've given back, and what you have done to give hope to those who may be receiving diagnoses even right now.
Sure, sure. So it's funny. So where I am right now, in my girlfriend's husband's man cave, she is also a cancer survivor as well, and I thank God for her every day and her healing, and she went through it first, and sometimes what we go through is not for ourselves; it's for other people. Mm-hmm. And she shared with me where she went at Penn Medicine. I went there. We had the same breast surgeon, same oncologist, everything. And, it was, had she not, and I'm sorry that she had to go through that.
Of course.
But she went through it for me. My mom had leukemia. She went through it for her and for me. I went through it for many others that I try my best to inspire every day or when they ask me to. And the American Cancer Society, I'm a board member, and not only am I a board member, I'm a collaborator with them to develop the first ever program called Aspire. It's a leadership development program. It's a 6-month leadership program for people of color within the American Cancer Society who are staff. And so I believe with these alliances with American Cancer Society, my volunteerism, but also helping on a greater scale to build tomorrow's leaders of color. Also, in addition to being a board member, et cetera, the other portion of the proceeds, because 100% of the proceeds of the book, for the life of the book, go to 2 cancer charities. One is American Cancer Society. The next is Abramson Cancer Center, where I was treated. And they were so wonderful to me that I wanted to make sure that I gave back to them in a mighty way. The other piece is that I want to go back to something that you said. And, my book, Optimists Always Win, I know we have a few moments and we'll talk about that in a second. You can get it on Amazon, all of those great things. But throughout our lives, Natalie, there's a waiting season. And one thing that I learned about this waiting season, and I'm learning it still today, is that in the waiting season, it is so critical what you do. Because the waiting season is never, ever a wasted season. The waiting season is never, ever a wasted season. I said that twice for a reason. Because sometimes when we're waiting for things, a promotion or waiting for God to do something in our lives, to move, God is waiting to, or we're waiting, single ladies, we're waiting for God to finish our husband in the lab, right? All of whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, there is a waiting season, and that's so important because we still have to remain faithful. Yes, we falter. Yes, I've been mad at God before when my mother passed. Oh, yes. No one is perfect.
We're fallible.
No one. But what we do have to realize is when we are waiting, it's okay to wait. And what you do in that waiting season determines your altitude in life. No question about it.
Let's talk about Optimists Always Wins.
Sure.
Because the nuggets you're dropping off here today, we don't have enough time in this single segment really delve into all we want to talk about, but you're moving from defeat to life's C-suite. And I strongly believe, Kimberly, when you talk about life's C-suite, you are not talking about someone's corporate job and a big check and fancy benefits, okay? Let's get that right, because sometimes we get our focus so misguided. We get so
Yes.
misguided and we miss what's happening. And what you said about that waiting period, if we just learn to walk through the valley and not stumble, fall, and wallow in it, then we realize that waiting period is a period of maturation and preparation. Let's talk about the optimist always wins.
Sure. So optimists always win, I will tell you. A lot of people say, oh my gosh, is it this whole bunch of mumbo jumbo of motivational talking? I promise you it is not. Optimists always win for me was something I wanted to give out to the world. Not about going through cancer, just about life's valleys and triumphs. The C-suite, I'm glad you said that, because I do talk about it in the chapter from a corporate perspective. But I also talk about it from a perspective of life. Life C-suite is the top layer, the top executive level, right, of your life. The reason why they have executive E-suite, because they wanted this book to be not just self-help, but it wanted to bring the flavor of me, inspirational and business, because I'm still a businesswoman at the end of the day, right? I grew up in corporate. I've had, to your point, we've had great jobs. I made a lot of money. But what's important to me at this season of my life, turning 50, was, and I knew this before 50, Natalie, but is that it's about life experiences. It's about being optimistic, I should say. And it's about understanding that optimism is the faith that leads to our greatest life successes. That's what optimism is.
It is the faith that leads to life's greatest successes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so it's really just a catalog of chapters that I call discouragement eliminators. Because when we go through life, you're going to have to use some equation to troubleshoot when you go through the valley, right? I'm using business language, right? But I will tell you, though, that optimists always win is really a blueprint for readers to see how to go through the storm and understand the difference between storm and chaos as well, because sometimes chaos, we create that, right, with our bad decisions or whatever those cases may be, or some things, and we say, oh no, we're going through a storm. No. A storm is when you feel like you're underwater and you can't breathe. Or you're trying to breathe while you're underwater. That's how I like to put it. And so it's just really understanding all of these attributes of life that we go through. And optimists always win is just really, again, Natalie, the blueprint, or my blueprint that I'm sharing of how to go through these 10 discouragement eliminators. And I can't tell you what they are. I might have, you have to get the book for that.
Well, it's funny you say that, because my next question is going to be, Kimberly, where do we get the book? I know it's available on Amazon. And how do we stay connected with you? And how do we connect our friends with you?
Also, absolutely. So we are Optimists Always Win is available where all books are sold, and it is available on Amazon right now. So I think it is actually discounted right now, and we won a lot of awards about it. So I pray that whoever buys the book, it blesses you in some mighty way, and also, and Natalie, I'll make sure that you get a book. And how you reach me on social media is Kimberly S. Reed. I'm real simple, at Kimberly S. Read, all LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. I share my Monday morning bowls of inspiration on my Facebook page, Kimberly S. Reed, on my fan page, as well as my personal page. It's public, so you could see it. So yeah, I just this was yeah, this is fantastic. This is how you can reach me. My day job, believe it or not, is Reed Development Group. And that our website is www.theredevelopmentgroup.com. But when you connect with me on social media, you'll see all that. I hate to use the last few minutes of time talking about all of that. I know you want people to reach me, but I'd rather I'd rather just say something one more time, or, and wish you a happy anniversary. And my girlfriend Rochelle, a happy 60th birthday, and thank her for letting me use the man cave down here to talk with you.
Awesome. I've got one quick question before we go, and I know we need to wrap. Excuse me. Tell me real quickly, excuse me, as I get all choked up.
No, sure.
You mentioned earlier that the proceeds from your book goes to what charity?
Oh, two cancer charities. So American Cancer Society, Philadelphia Hope Lodge, which is like a hotel for people that are going through cancer, and their caregiver. They stay there for free. They have dinners there, because they're most Hope Lodges are very close to some of the best cancer centers in the world. And so, you and I, and, think about trying to pay for a hotel for 6 or 7 weeks or whatever. And so they need our donations. So Philadelphia Hope Lodge, American Cancer Society, and also the Abramson Cancer Center, where I was treated. They are a premier research institution, and for breast cancer care and patient care. So those are where the two are going to be.
Well, congratulations on 10 years cancer-free. We know God heals, and we know He is faithful and keeps His promise. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Living Life Authentically with Natalie B. McKenzie, and we have been talking with the indelible, amazing Kimberly S. Reed. She will be back. She'll be on our podcast, because optimist always wins. We must get that out there. There are so many nuggets. Thank you so much for joining us, Kimberly. It's an absolute pleasure, and it is a delight and honor to share this sisterhood with you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so very much, Soror. Happy anniversary. Enjoy, and you keep inspiring us all, my dear. Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to coming back.
My pleasure. So thank you for watching. I'm Natalie B. McKenzie, and I wish you enough life to live, enough joy to give, enough love to share.